There, restaurant recipe lovers, welcome back to The Daily Dish, a copycat.com podcast where I help you recreate your favorite restaurant dishes right in your own kitchen. I'm Stephanie Manley, and I've been recreating your favorite restaurant recipes since 1995. First off, thank you for everyone who's been making our recipes. I've been getting a lot of comments on Pinterest, and I really appreciate the feedback that you share. Remember, you can always find the complete written version of today's recipe on copycat.com. We also place a link in the show notes on this podcast. So you don't have to worry about trying to remember the ingredients or write everything down. It's all there for you. We got you. This way you can get all the measurements, photos, detailed instructions, and even videos on the website, copycat.com. Okay, so today we are diving into a recipe that is not tied to a specific restaurant, but it's one that you always get when you go to a particular restaurant. Today we are working on white queso dip that you typically get in most Mexican restaurants. If you've ever sat down at a Mexican restaurant and you found yourself filling up on chips and queso, you know, that creamy white cheese dip before your main course arrives, this episode is for you. Let me share a quick story. Years ago, I was hosting a party at my house and I wanted to recreate my favorite restaurant's white queso. So I bought what I thought was the right cheese, Monterey Jack. And I spent nearly an hour trying to get it to melt properly. I started with a roux and then I added cheese and I ended up with this thick sauce that eventually broke as I kept trying to correct it. Do you know why I failed? Restaurants use a specific type of cheese. Now, if you're near Lake of Gordon's, you can get some Land O'Lakes Easy Melt cheese. But you know what? Another substitute that you can use that works wonderfully is white American cheese that you get from your deli counter. I was shocked. American cheese? Really? It made perfect sense. American cheese contains the ingredients that help it melt smoothly without separating, which is exactly what we want in a good queso. The key is getting it from the deli counter. Don't get those pre-packaged slices. This simple tip has changed my queso game forever. So when I go buy this at the store, I just tell them I need like a pound of it, and I don't care how they slice it. Some stores will pre-slice it, so you don't have to have that awkward moment of explaining why you need it. Just grab it from the deli. It's much better. Now, when it comes to a brand, I really like Land O'Lakes. I know that's what Walmart carries. It is my favorite, so definitely recommend that. Well, let's talk about what else you're going to need. Besides American white cheese from the deli counter, you're going to need some butter, white onion, canned green chilies, and heavy cream. That's it. Just 5 simple ingredients for restaurant quality queso. For those that are watching calories, I've got some alternatives. You can substitute half and half for heavy cream. The texture won't be quite as rich, but it still works beautifully. I've even had listeners tell me they've used evaporated milk in a pinch with good results. One of my listeners, Mary from Wisconsin, told me she makes this queso for her book club every month. She said before discovering my recipe, she was spending over $40 ordering appetizers from her local Mexican restaurant. Now she makes the queso with a few other homemade snacks for much less. She said, "My budget thanks you, and my friends think I'm a culinary genius." And you know what? That's exactly why I do what I do. I want to help bring you those restaurant experiences at home without the restaurant prices. Now, let's talk about how simple this is to make. You're going to start by melting butter in a pan. Use one with a thick bottom if you have it. This distributes the heat more evenly and prevents the queso from burning. Next, you're going to saute some diced white onion until it's translucent. This adds a wonderful flavor foundation. Next comes the magic part. Add your cheese and cream to the pan. Cook over medium-low heat, stirring occasionally until everything melts together. The key here is low and slow. If your heat is too high, the cheese can separate or burn. So be patient and you'll be rewarded with that perfect restaurant quality texture. And once the cheese is melted, stir in those green chilies and voila! You have restaurant quality queso dip that's easy to serve. This recipe is incredibly forgiving and adaptable to your taste preferences. If you like it spicier, you can add some diced fresh or canned jalapenos or a dash of cayenne pepper. If you prefer a milder version, the green chilies alone provide just enough flavor without too much heat. Sandra from Texas shared a brilliant money-saving tip with me. She buys American cheese in bulk when it's on sale and freezes it in restaurant-sized portions. While the texture might change slightly, once it's melted into the queso, you can absolutely not tell the difference. Now that's smart shopping. For those of you looking to make this ahead for parties or gathering, this recipe works beautifully in a slow cooker. Simply add all the ingredients after you've sauteed the onions into a small crock pot. Set it to low, stir it occasionally, and it will stay perfectly warm and creamy throughout your event. Let's talk about some serving ideas. Obviously, tortilla chips are the classic pairing, but don't limit yourself. This queso is used as a sauce for grilled chicken or even as a topping for steamed vegetables. One of my favorite ways to use it is use it as a base for quick enchilada sauce. Just thin it out with a little chicken broth and you've got something really special. Now, if you somehow manage to have leftovers, which let's be honest, rarely happens in my house, store them in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to a week. To reheat, simply place it in a small pot over low heat and stir occasionally. If it seems too thick, add a tablespoon of milk or cream, 1 tablespoon at a time, until you reach the desired consistency. What makes this recipe particularly special is how it brings people together. There's something about gathering around a bowl of warm, gooey cheese dip that just invites conversation and connection. Whether it's a family taco night, a casual get-together with friends, or that special occasion, this white queso dip is always a hit. Once you master this basic queso recipe, you can start experimenting with variations like adding cooked chorizo, seasoned ground beef for a heartier dip. You can mix in some beans for a bean and cheese dip, or even sprinkled crumbled bacon on top for a delicious twist. I hope this white queso dip becomes a staple in your kitchen, like it has for so many of our listeners. It's quick, easy, incredibly affordable compared to restaurant prices, and best of all, you can customize it exactly how you like it. I'd love to hear how your queso turns out and any creative ways that you found to serve it. Drop me a comment on the blog post at copycat.com or tag us in your social media posts. You can find a complete recipe with all the measurements and detailed instructions on copycat.com or simply click the link in the show notes. Until next time, this is Stephanie Manley from copycat.com, helping you bring the restaurant experience at home. After all, why go out when you can make it at home?